Hello, and welcome to your session on cross-curricular connections. The first thing I want to start out with, though, is just mentioning that you want to make sure that you're clicking on sessions on the left-hand side here. If you are in the table of contents and just scrolling down to sessions that way and clicking on stuff, it doesn't actually register on my end. So when I go to look to see what you've looked at or watched, it doesn't show anything. So I want to make sure that you are in fact engaging with the material. So please go to the left-hand side and click from the menu here. So we're going to go to cross-curricular connections today. I want to remind everyone that our end goal is to create an interdisciplinary unit plan, which will be turned in for your final assignment of the class. But I'm going to continue to bring that up throughout the course because really that's what we're working on. We're building that interdisciplinary unit, okay? So today, as we look at cross-curricular connections, we're also going to be looking ahead at what the end goal is. So I have some links here that I have a little introduction to where I talk about cross-curricular connections. And then the first thing that I provided with you here is like how to create an integrated unit. That article that I posted, it's written from High Tech High, which I know is a high school. However, the way that it's written does a nice job of explaining, how to look for connections across the curriculum and how to integrate things. And then I provided you with several different examples of interdisciplinary unit maps. So it's not an entire unit plan, which I want to point out, but the map itself it gives you an overview of the whole unit, and you can easily see how connections are made across content areas. So I tried to provide examples at different grade levels since we have elementary and middle level certifications happening within our course. One important thing when you're creating interdisciplinary units is the development of essential questions. So I included a little video there for you to watch on how to write an essential question. Oftentimes, though, you can find the essential questions within the standards. The essential questions are defined, so sometimes you don't even really have to think about it all that hard. All right, and then I included a section here for looking back at the standards. So you're going to need to go back to the standards. So I tried to make it a little convenient for you. So instead of having to go back to session 1 and click on the resource links that I had included for you, you can click on the links here for the standards. Now I've included all the standards here, so you'll notice that there are PA core standards. There's also Common Core, the National Common Core standards that are there. I've included for the science standards. The science standards, they break them down into elementary level. They have ones for pre-K 2. And then they have ones for grades 6 through 12. I also included the next generation science standards. I'm including both the national and PA standards because, we have many people that are not just in PA, that we have people from all around the world. So I've included those in case you want to refer to those standards instead. The health standards are here. I've also included the specific standards for kindergarten, since so many of you are at that level. So what I want you to do is open up the standards for math, science, and health and look at your specific grade level that you either are already teaching or would hope to be teaching. And I want you to look for connections across the content areas at that grade level. The idea is to identify at least 3 standards that you can make connections with. So a standard from math, a standard from health, and a standard from science that you would then use to create your overarching theme for your unit, okay? I've also included here as some extra resources, some ReadWorks, NewsELA, and Get Epic are like reading resources that you could use for making connections across the curriculum. I'm just posting it in here now so that you can maybe start to play with it, maybe create an account, see how it works. What's great about each of these sources is that you can differentiate by reading levels. So you can select which reading level. They have articles that tie into content areas, and you are able to those articles can be produced at different reading levels. So all kids are getting exposure to the same content, but maybe they're reading at different levels. so that's really helpful. And then what I've also included here is just looking ahead at creating unit plans. So one method that we use is understanding by design, which is really like working backwards and knowing like what you want your students to know at the end of the unit, and then really developing the unit. So there's explanations there within that. I've also included the unit plan overview template. So again, you can have your eye on that because that'll be a piece of the interdisciplinary unit that you'll submit at the end, so that you can, that's the way that I want you to explain the connections throughout your unit. That will be in addition to the actual lesson plans that you submit with the unit plan. But that's just a piece of it, so I wanted you to take a look at that. All right, and then we have our discussion for this week, for the week, as well as your assignment, which is all about making cross-curricular connections. Okay, if you have any questions about anything at all, please feel free to reach out to me. I know sometimes taking online courses, it can be a little tricky as far as communicating expectations, so I have no problem answering questions, and they're much appreciated. All right, I hope that you have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.